Hello, everybody. My name is Max, and welcome to another pronunciation lesson. In this lesson, we're going to learn everything about intonation. We're going to see how intonation can change the way we speak, and it really affects the way that we're talking. So, without any hesitation, let's begin and let's see what we have to do in order to have a perfect intonation. All right, first of all, what is intonation? And why it's important. And as you remember, one of the criteria for the speaking of B2 and C1 is pronunciation. And inside of that, one of the things is called intonation that matters. Now, usually intonation is referring to your voice, when your voice, let's say, rises or falls. This is called the intonation. Now, for example, if I say the question, are you okay? Are you okay? Look at how the sound at the end goes up. This is called rising intonation. When your voice goes up, are you okay? Now, if I say the same question like this, are you okay? Are you okay? You see, something is wrong here. Now, it's not because my voice is going down or it falls, that's the problem. No, because whenever you're asking a yes no question, our voice should go up. Your voice should rise, and this is called rising intonation. Sometimes your voice should come, for example, down, like the questions, like information question. We never ask, where are you from? We ask, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Is wrong. So that was an example for intonation. Now, you can also use intonation in a lot of other situations, which we're going to learn here in this lesson. We're going to learn all different ways that our voice can go up and down. And each one of these situations, we're trying to indicate different things. For example, you can indicate that you finished the speaking, or you've got more to say by your intonation. Or, for example, a falling intonation shows that you finished the speaking, while a rising intonation often indicates that you still have more to say. Now, let's watch a video from Top Notch, which explains a rising intonation to confirm information. Let's see what it says and how we can do that by this video.
Rising intonation to confirm information. We use rising intonation to confirm or check information. In rising intonation, the voice goes up at the end of the sentence. To confirm your understanding, say the word or phrase with rising intonation. Make your voice go up at the end. Listen.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the West Theater.
The West Theater? Listen again to the way the voice goes up at the end. The West Theater? Listen to these short conversations. The second speaker uses rising intonation to confirm information.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the Art Museum.
The Art Museum?
Excuse me, where's Green Street?
Green Street?
Let's meet at the Film Center.
The Film Center?
Excuse me, I'm looking for 200 Bay Street.
200 Bay Street? Now listen to these short conversations. Repeat each response. Click on pause after each conversation.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the Art Museum.
The Art Museum?
Excuse me, where's Green Street?
Green Street?
Let's meet at the Film Center.
The Film Center?
Excuse me, I'm looking for 200 Bay Street.
200 Bay Street?
Very good. So as you can see, whenever you want to confirm information, for example, in part 3 or part 4 of the speaking section, When your partner asks you a question and you want to confirm something, you can have rising intonation. For example, he asks, this option is better. And you say, this option? You think so? So whenever you say it like this, you are showing or you're trying to confirm information, or you've heard it correctly, what the other person says. So this is one tip about rising intonation. Let's watch another video about intonation for offering alternatives. Again, this is really good for part 2, part 1, 2, 3, 4, all parts you can use this. Of course, when you're offering alternatives, it's not just you offering alternatives to another person. You can talk about yourself. For example, part 2, when you're, let's say, comparing the pictures, you can offer alternatives. Let's see how we can do that. Then we can a little bit talk about it more.
Intonation for offering alternatives. We use the word or to offer alternatives or choices. When we offer alternatives with or, we use both rising intonation and falling intonation. Listen. Would you like a window seat or an aisle seat? We use rising intonation on the first alternative, the choice before the word or. We use falling intonation on the last alternative, the choice after the word or. Listen to the way my voice goes up on the first alternative. Would you like a window seat? And down on the last alternative, or an aisle seat. Now, listen to the rhythm in this sentence. We put stress on each alternative. Would you like a window seat or an aisle seat? Listen to the intonation and rhythm in these examples. The intonation is the same in both questions and statements offering alternatives. Do you want to fly or take the train? We could go to London or Paris. We could meet at the hotel or the restaurant. We could drive to the airport or take a taxi. Would you like to go to the beach or stay in a city? Now, listen and repeat. Click on pause after each sentence. Would you like a window or an aisle seat? Do you want to fly or take the train? We could go to London or Paris. We could meet at the hotel or the restaurant. We could drive to the airport or take a taxi. Would you like to go to the beach or stay in a city?
Very good. Now look at here. As you can see, whenever we are talking about, let's say, offering alternatives, sometimes you have more than one option. Whatever comes before or let's say whatever that is not the last one of the option, you should have always rising intonation for that. And for the last option, you should always have falling intonation. And when you are offering alternatives, for example, in part 3, when you want to start, you can, for example, when you want to choose one of the options to start talking, you can have a good intonation to say that. Would you like to start with this one or this one? Would you like to talk about this one or this one? You see, whenever you're offering alternatives, it's like that. Or in part 4, when you have collaborative, let's say, discussion, you're talking to each other. When you want to offer alternatives, you can also use this intonation tip, which is really good when you're asking questions, when you are talking about alternatives. For example, in winter, we can either go to this place or that place. For example, you want to talk about 2 alternatives, and you can use these languages using with correct intonation to show to the examiners that you know the intonation correctly. Now, what else? Where else we can use intonation? Let's take a look at another video about intonation of lists. This is also really important because the examiners might ask in part one, what are your hobbies? You want to mention a couple of hobbies. It's a list of things, or what are the things you like to do on the weekend, or I don't know, a lot of questions that requires you to, let's say, make a list and talk about a list. Like in part two, sometimes you want to just list the things that people are doing in the pictures, right? Again, what should be my intonation? How should I pronounce them? Should I have rising intonation, falling intonation? What should I do? Let's watch this video to understand.
Intonation of lists. When a sentence includes a list of items, each item has its own intonation. Listen. I have a headache, a sore throat, and a high fever. Listen again. I have a headache, a sore throat, and a high fever. When we say a list of items, the voice often goes up on each item before the last one. The voice goes down on the last item in the list. Listen to the way my voice goes up on the first two items. I have a headache, a sore throat, and down on the last item, and a high fever. Rising intonation shows that the list is not finished. We use falling intonation on the last item to show that the list is complete. Listen again. I have a headache, a sore throat, and a high fever. We put stress on each item in the list and pause a little between each item. I have a headache, a sore throat, and a high fever. Listen to the intonation of the lists in these examples. I was coughing, wheezing, and short of breath. I have pain in my hip, my leg, and my back. The doctor told me to stay home, rest, and drink tea. My neck, shoulders, back, and ribs hurt. I feel nauseous, dizzy, weak, and tired. I stayed home on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now listen and repeat. Click on pause after each sentence. I was coughing, wheezing, and short of breath. I have pain in my hip, my leg, and my back. The doctor told me to stay home, rest, and drink tea. My neck, shoulders, back, and ribs hurt. I feel nauseous, dizzy, weak, and tired. I stayed home on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Very good. So as you can see, whenever we have a list of items, whenever you're talking, basically you're listing things, which as we mentioned in part 1, 2, 3, 4, might happen. You want to make some list or mention some lists of items. It's necessary to have correct intonation and show to the examiner that when the list is going to finish, or still you have things to add to your list. So whenever you still have things to add, you should always have rising intonation, rising, rising, when you have more things to add. And when you don't have anything more to add, the last item should have a falling intonation, and it shows to the examiner that that's the last item and we don't have anything more to add. So these are some of the tips related to intonation. And also don't forget, yes, no questions, they always have rising intonation at the end, and information questions, they always have falling intonation. If it's an information, what's your phone number, for example, I don't know, where do you live? These are information questions. But the questions that are like, can you open the door? Like, I don't know, is this your cousin? These are all rising because these are yes/no questions. So this is also another thing that I just remembered to tell you. Now let's try to a little bit practice the things that we mentioned. We're going to listen to these extracts from a conversation, and you've got to decide if the speaker's voice rises or falls on these underlined words. So listen and try to check. And after that, we will take a look at the answer.
1,
How do you think a sightseeing tour might be good for students?
2,
I think you can learn a lot about architecture and history and things like that.
3,
Yes, and also you can visit somewhere very different and learn about other cultures.
4,
What about this sort of activity holiday in the mountains?
5,
I think it can give young people exciting experiences and adventures, things they don't get in their everyday lives.
Very good. I think you've got it. Based on the videos that we watched, I think you can easily now guess whether the speaker was trying to show rising intonation or falling intonation. Now let's try to take a look at the answers together and listen one more time and see how the person was trying to show rising or falling intonation.
1,
How do you think a sightseeing tour might be good for students?
2,
I think you can learn a lot about architecture and history and things like that.
3,
Yes, and also you can visit somewhere very different and learn about other cultures.
4,
What about this sort of activity holiday in the mountains?
5,
I think it can give young people exciting experiences and adventures, things they don't get in their everyday lives.
Very good, very good. So whenever you have, like for example here, number 4 is an information question, right? We said whenever it's an information questions, at the end of the sentence, you should have falling intonation. The same as this one, number 1. Again, falling intonation at the end. Number 2, you have a list, right? For example, a lot of architecture and history and things like that. The last one is the last item, so you should have falling intonation. Now, also, you will make a good impression in the exam if you sound interested and enthusiastic about what you discuss. You can use intonation to show your interest. Let's see how we can do that. So let's first try to listen to how the voice or the voices rise and fall on these highlighted words. Try to just guess it first. And after that, we're going to take a look at it and see how we can show to the examiners that we're interested in what we're saying or try to show enthusiasm.
Well, perhaps this could be organised in a more adult way. You know, with some serious sports for people who were interested and less serious activities for other people. That way, everyone could get involved.
Yes, good idea. And people could be organised into teams, and it could all be made quite competitive and enjoyable at the same time. When I think about it, it could be really successful.
Very good. Now let's take a look at the answer and listen one more time.
Well, perhaps this could be organised in a more adult way. You know, with some serious sports for people who were interested and less serious activities for other people. That way, everyone could get involved.
Yes, good idea. And people could be organised into teams, and it could all be made quite competitive and enjoyable at the same time. When I think about it, it could be really successful.
Very good, very good. So as you can see, sometimes your voice goes up, goes down, and whenever you're interested, you can show that. You can just put a stress on it. For example, well, perhaps this could be organized in more adult way, with some serious support for people who are interested and less serious activities for other people. So sometimes your voice can go, let's say your voice can go up and down in these type of situations to show interested. Like when she says, yes, good idea. I can also say, yes, good idea. You see the difference? Yes, good idea. Yes, good idea. Which one sounds more interested? Which one sounds like really enthusiastic? So whenever your voice goes up, it shows like you're interested. And you can put this intonation in those situations that you want to just, of course, you have to be very careful of not, when you're talking about list or this kind of stuff, you cannot do that. You just have to follow the rules that we talked before. But whenever you want to just explain something, you want to just try to show one word stronger than the other word, you want to just emphasize that word, you can have a little bit of stress on it, put a stress and have rising intonation. And for those words that you don't want, you can just have a falling intonation. But again, this should be outside of the rules that we said before. If it's a list, yes, no question, I don't know, the things that we talked about, no, you cannot do that because the rules are always like that. But in this situation, when you want to sound enthusiastic, you can have rising intonation for some words. Of course, for not all the words, as you can see, some words are having falling intonation because they are not important, like everyone. But if you want to say that everyone is important for you, and you want to sound enthusiastic about that word, yeah, you can have a rising intonation for that word. And you can, in that case, that word looks really important. So again, it's up to you how you can, how you want to show interest. You can just have rising intonation to do that. And it's not very difficult to do it.
Well,
now, also, we use intonation in other situations. We tend to use more intonation on stress words than on unstressed words. Let's see how we can do that. So first of all, what I want you to do here is that I want you to underline the words you think she stresses, and then listen and check your answers.
okay, so both photographs show people doing things which might be good for their sanity. Sorry, I mean their health. In the first photo, I can see someone who looks as if he's, what's the word? He's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic.
Very good. Now let's take a look at the answer. So here are all the words that she tried to somehow put a stress on them. Let's listen one more time.
Okay, so both photographs show people doing things which might be good for their sanity. Sorry, I mean their health. In the first photo, I can see someone who looks as if he's, what's the word? He's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic.
Very good, very good. So she's trying to put a stress on these words and also try to have intonation, different intonation for that. Now, what we're going to do right now is we're going to listen to the same thing, but here you're going to listen to two different versions. Now, one version, the person tried to have some kind of rising intonation sometimes, and another version, you're going to listen, sometimes he's going to have falling intonation and rising, mix of both of them. So you have to say in which version, A or B, does the speaker sound more certain and confident? And also, does the voice rise or fall on the final stressed word in each sentence? And what does this show? So we're going to answer all these questions, but first, listen to different versions and try to decide based on what he's saying. Don't worry about your knowledge. Just try to guess what you understand based on the audio file and try to answer these two questions while you're listening. And after that, we're going to take a look at the answer.
Version A.
Okay, so both photographs show people doing things which might be good for their sanity. Sorry, I mean their health. In the first photo, I can see someone who looks as if he's, what's the word? He's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic.
Version B.
Okay, so both photographs show people doing things which might be good for their sanity. Sorry, I mean their health. In the first photo, I can see someone who looks as if he's, what's the word? He's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic.
Very good, very good. As you can see, she had rising intonation in the second one more than the first one. Now, let's see what happened. So the first one, the answer to the first one, the speaker A is more confident. Why? Because her voice falls on the final stress words. So whenever she was pronouncing this last words, like for example, what's the word? He's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic. Now, if you say he's commuting by bicycle in busy traffic, you see, rising intonation shows that you're not confident or you're not sure about what you're saying. Like, for example, sorry, I mean their health, I don't know, health or something else, I don't know. You see, voice goes up in this situation. So, which one should you do in the exam? Definitely version A. You should have version A. You should sound certain about the things that you're saying rather than not really certain. You can have a speculation, as we said in the speaking section, but that's another story. We're talking about intonation, now not speculation. So as you can see in B, her voice rises on final stress words, making her sound uncertain. And that's the problem, which we don't want you to do that. We want you to be confident, like A, and try to have falling intonation when you're stressing the last word. So be very careful and try to have correct intonation when you are pronouncing. Again, it's not very difficult to check yourself whenever you are, for example, practicing part 2, answering questions in part 1, part 3, part 4. When you're recording your voice, have a checklist next to yourself. Try to check your intonation. It's not very difficult to check your intonation. If you don't have intonation, if you're not having any rising or falling intonation, something is wrong. You should change the way that you're speaking to have, let's say, those ups and downs when you're speaking. You should do it. That's what the examiners are looking for. And you should have rising intonation and falling intonation. So it's really important. You see, I just did it one time. So thank you so much for watching this video. And this is all about intonation. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at other tips about pronunciation. So have a great time. See you in the next video.